Alright, Schlockmeister fans, another review of my previous channel. Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with a little backstory. We were learning that Sally got away from the first film and died a few years later, and they never caught Leatherface. This is Michelle and Ryan driving through the back roads of Texas.
I just need some time on my own, okay?
Well, they find a pit full of bodies not too far from where they're driving. They also find Viggo Mortensen at a gas station. He plays Tex.
Your last thing I saw before I died. I died a happy man.
Well, Tex and the guy who owns the gas station get into a argument. And later on that night, they're being chased. And eventually they crash. While they're trying to change their tire, they meet Leatherface and his chainsaw. And yet they somehow manage to get away again. That's a guy named Benny. He crashed. Benny's played by Ken Foree from Dawn of the Dead.
Militant lumberjacks. I see them all the time. They all want you to take one of these. I'm glad you came along.
And then they meet this guy.
We had an accident.
Name's Tinker.
I didn't know that.
Bad night just keeps getting worse. There comes Leatherface again.
Wrong weapon, wrong war. They got us a week ago. I'm the only one left.
They found a girl.
Sisters.
A weird girl. So Michelle runs off and she finds a house. Goes inside to try to find help. Finds the little girl. But don't trust her. She's part of the Sawyer family. And it's Tex. They thought Tex may have been killed, but he wasn't.
How you like Texas?
You best shut up or I'll do your tongue first.
Back out in the woods.
Tell him what you do, he doesn't know.
Little Alfredo does this, he does that.
You just afraid of you stupid motherfucker, huh?
Now, fuck you!
He cleans and he does housework.
Fuck you, mister!
Back inside the house.
Drink.
Eventually Benny shows up at the house. Gets into a fight with Tex. Fight that Benny wins. Leatherface goes down. Dawn breaks. Very surprised to see Benny alive, is she? But they're not quite out of the woods yet.
It's night time, Robert, and I'm back! Where did it change for bracelet, bitch, like you know that you did it?
Pretty goddamn good, you backwoods motherfucker.
And that's our film.
There's roadkill all over Texas.
Got that right.
Well, we get one final scene. All right, pushing through my re-reviews of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I watched part 2 a few weeks ago, which I liked better than I ever did before, and Leatherface 3. Leatherface Texas Chainsaw 3. This is actually only the second time in my life I've ever watched this movie. First time was 5 years ago when I reviewed it for the first time. So this movie basically kind of follows the story of the Sawyer family. We learn that Sally, the only survivor from the original movie, died in like a mental hospital a few years after that took place. And one of the Sawyer family members died in the gas chamber, but Leatherface lived on. They could never find any proof that Leatherface existed or that he did or didn't exist. Who knows? But anyway, we have a pair, I think they're college kids, Michelle and Ryan. They're driving through some back roads of Texas. They're on their way to Florida. Maybe it's spring break. If it was, I missed it. But anyway, they end up running into this guy named Tex at the gas station, played by Viggo Mortensen. Tex gets into a fight with the gas station attendant. Shotgun is pulled, and it appears that Tex got shot. But Michelle and Ryan just drive off. Eventually, they get run off the road by presumably the Sawyer family. And then they get into an accident or almost get hit by Ken Foree, who plays Benny. I remember him from Dawn of the Dead. Basically, Leatherface pursues them in the woods, and there's a couple other people that end up getting killed. Michelle and Ryan get split up. Ryan falls into a bear trap, and Leatherface kills him. Michelle manages to run off, escape, and find a house with lights on and everything. So she goes there, it's nighttime. She goes in and finds a little girl who's looks like she's crying. She goes upstairs to follow her. It turns out she's evil. This is the Sawyer family house, and she's a Sawyer. She stabs her with something in the leg, tranquilizer or something. Next thing you know, Michelle's tied up. They're hammering her hands with nails. Tex shows up. Viggo Mortensen. Turns out he's a member of the family. Eventually, Benny also shows up, though he was still alive. He gets to the house. He gets into a fight with Tex and basically inflames Tex. Starts him on fire and blows him up. Blows up a car, too. The two of them kind of escape. We believe Benny may have been killed, but eventually Michelle's able to kill her way out of the house. She ends up killing Leatherface in a swamp, or at least we think he's dead. He goes down. His chainsaw goes down with him. Next morning, she wakes up. She's walking through the desert, and she finds Benny. Pulls up in this vehicle, and they think they're okay, but then this other guy, I think his name was Alfredo, showed up. He's one of the Sawyer family. He attacks them, but eventually Michelle gets the upper hand and shoots him, kills him, and she and Benny drive off. And as they're driving off, we see a leg and a chainsaw, and we believe that to be Leatherface, which I'm sure, of course, it is. So anyway, that is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Now, basically, yeah, this had the Sawyer family in it, but it is just your run-of-the-mill slasher film with chainsaw killers. That's pretty much it. Obviously, it's got the Texas Chainsaw backdrop to it, but it's basically a typical slasher film from the era. Came out in 1990, I believe this one did. So, and there's been several other sequels since then as well, and I'll get to some of those coming soon. But anyway, that is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. It had a fair amount of gore in it. Probably not as gory as some think it is, although it may have been the goriest one so far. I don't know. There was an R-rated and an unrated cut on here. I watched the unrated version, which again, there was a couple scenes where it looks like they could have done more. Like they filmed it, but they cut it, so who the hell knows? Maybe I missed a little gore. I don't know. Film is okay. It's just a typical slasher film. We'll leave it at that. Check it out. Leave some comments. I'll leave a link to something down below if you're looking to buy it. And let me know what you think about Leatherface. Watch it. Bye.